Okay, so I sent you a little agenda. I did not send it to you, Dieter. Uh, Overall, there was no really objection for you replacing Bart, but I think it would be nice if you could actually just introduce yourself to everybody. I know a bit of you. I don't know much about you, and I don't know about the other guys. So yeah, go ahead, take the floor.
Yes. Hey guys, great to be here. So I'm Dieter Wachters. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Rito. So I founded it together with Bart about 2 years ago. Uh, Before this, amongst other jobs, I was VP engineering at Colibra for about 9 years. So was able to join there when it was still very small and early, and saw it grew out to the 1,000 plus people it is today. So that was a definitely very interesting journey. So today at Rito, we are building a SaaS platform for making data access management more easy. And of course, data contracts are an important input there for us as well, potentially. So we are currently working on some features related to what we call the shift left of data access as well. So that fits nicely into what this group is working on.
Awesome. So, as we didn't have any objection, I think I can welcome you to the technical steering committee. And so we meet once a month. We have a majority of Belgian people, um, which is okay. And yeah, and we you'll find out how we work a little bit together. But basically the idea is we have subcommittees and we work on specific tasks. And so that's how we operate. Okay, and we're usually a little bit more people. We are 15 people. And so yeah, that's it. The other part I wanted to talk about is the part that Simone took lead of, but if Simone is not here, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Um, so Simone started working on the definition of the infrastructure within the data contract, and I think it was some interesting progress. I don't know if any of you have seen any of the work. It's as as a reminder, I can actually share my screen as well and show it where it is so that everybody knows. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen, but we also now have a real website. So Bitol.io goes to not goes doesn't go anymore to the only to the repo, but to the real website that the Linux Foundation built for us. Mm, I even have access to it, but it's so it's a WordPress. Okay, so share screen. Okay. So okay, so here's our repo, our project. In the repo, you've got the TSC, okay, and I'm also doing that. So Dieter, you find the things around, and in the TSC we started to have RFCs, and we have two RFCs in progress. One is a server that is actually led by Simon, and which is defining more than just the servers, but more like the infrastructure and that. So I don't know if any of you have a look at that, but I really encourage you to have a look at it. The structures that was done is really based on examples. Uh, we've been having discussion here where it was not based on example, and I think it lost a lot of people. So when we met with talking about this on this work, we decided to focus exactly on that part. Okay, so so the idea was to define by environments and servers could be something else, but the idea is to define by environment the whether it's dev, production, whatever you want, and you can also have multiple production environment if you so need. Okay, so I would I would yeah, I would invite you to have a look at that part, and then when we discuss that more with Simon next next I don't know when he wants to talk about it. Okay, so that's one thing. Um,
Is there a
and as
PR?
he's leading the effort, I'm not going to do more. Uh, but yeah, do you want to talk more about that because you started that. So I think it's good you're showing your what you did.
Yeah, so the thing is, we based on what we talked about last time during the steering committee, I made some basic stuff for the type, something that is really low level or high level, depend on how you see it. So I think it's more like high level. So that means that it could be used by any kind of tech behind, if it's COBOL, if it's Java, if it's Python, if it's whatever it is, you can match each types from each technology. So I found that, but also I sent that to Simon so he can add it in the document. I made just some basic changes. So the thing is, I would like to have some feedback about that. If somebody, so just you can DM me, you can send me a message on the Slack. But so far, I don't have any so much more idea to add here. If somebody perhaps just building a real example with those types to see how we can use it, if we can use it, for example, in Python scripts or Java extractor or in pipelines to see if it could work. That perhaps the things we could try now. I put types that are, for example, string, integer, float. Those are basic types. For the integer and float, for example, I didn't use 32 bits or 64 bits or 16 bits definition, but more the min and max of the value you can get. But that's an idea. So if somebody else has more idea or something else, I really appreciate your feedback.
I think it's good to have it. We can discuss it for a few minutes, and then what I would suggest is set up a date for you know for finalizing reviews, and then set it as a standard. My only comment here, and Tom, you've got to help here, is if we set things, for example, like options min and max, okay, this could be part of the data quality, and how do we handle potential conflict with data quality rules?
Yeah.
Good
Maybe
question. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's a good question. So that's like I see. Yeah, there's the option of we define the property logically, like, and then it's up to all the tools to just use it, or whether the property itself should be clear, like it's used for data quality or it's used for the DDL generation or some other aspect of it. So that's a choice. The other question that I have first is, so I can see that the logical type makes sense from the contract to map it, for instance, to different technologies. Like we can map it to Python, or we can map the logical string type to a database in that direction. But I'm wondering what's the vision on the other way around, which is like, for instance, I have a data set and it is a Oracle Precision 2.7.
Yeah.
The question is, like, is the idea that this should cover also that use case? If so, how?
Well, we already have the physical type. Okay, so that's not replacing the physical type,
Okay. Yeah.
right?
Well, do we? Is that, I mean, that was the second major option that's sort of not filled out here, right? So. And yeah, because I mean, you have that conflict. I mean, there's the old big endian, little endian, you know, and what's coming over the wire, you know, there should be, to the degree you've got a driver in place from the servers that's dealing with your, you know, things like, I mean, you wouldn't expect we need to deal with anything like endianness on numbers, but if it's a double versus a float, I mean, that could come up if there's like a native, you know, native physical might need to be, I could see native physical being an optional parameter in here, but not something that you expect to be handled most of the time, but not necessarily something you have to have.
Well, if you need that to generate the DDL, for example, then you will need you will need this kind of level of precision. I didn't put it, but here's the example. Here's the example of what Johan and Simon has been doing with Enoch. So
yeah, maybe some more critical things are, how do we see complex types in arrays, right? Because they might get complicated in SQL interfaces, but if you have structures like JSON, Avro, or Parquet, you will definitely see complex types in your data sets, right? Also, it's something, and then the question is, how do you model complex types in your data contract model?
So I can. I'm not sure if that's. Yeah, complex types is already like another flavor of this. So I think the first decision to make is like, should we evolve towards like one property, one use case, or one property, multiple use case? And
when you say use cases, for example, data type on Oracle and Parquet are not the same definition.
Are you meaning more like enriched business data in the type, like saying, okay, this is a string, but it's also an address?
Yeah, we lost we completely lost Tom.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think that that's a very good question, is, are we trying to limit the types to just being about ingestion and interpretation, or are we trying to make it more about usability?
We've got our newest, youngest member of the TSC.
All right. I mean, are we just
Welcome.
like, just open elections here? You just bring whomever you want?
Yeah. So, but the thing is, if you put both types, the issue, so you won't solve all the issue anyway. So, but because the types depend on who is producing the data and who is consuming the data. So the thing is, my view was to put something that could be in the middle and understandable by both. site.
So if as Peter said, we already have the
Yeah, we
physical
have two,
type.
we have both, yeah.
So and I
I
don't want
think
to talk.
by
Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
sorry. I think by having both types, it kind of covers a lot of use cases because, as people already mentioned, you need the physical type to actually interact with, the database itself. If you wanted to create a tool to run DDLs or whatnot, you need that physical type. But then I think it was mentioned in the last meeting where the logical type is more from a non-technical user potentially. It could be a data catalog or something like that where they don't care about varchar 10 or something like that. But because I imagine a big use case for data contracts would be these data catalog kind of tools, where you would want to read just some basic kind of attributes of that column. You don't need to go into the nitty-gritty details that are data source specific, because then that then allows things about like searchability, where like, hey, I want to find all the string columns across data sources, and those kinds of use cases.
Mm.
Well, one thing. So for those of you who remember what XML was, that's why I loved attributes in XML, because you can have all these blocks and you can say, hey, this block applies to something through with specific attributes. And I think this is probably something like that we could be doing. So let's turn into a bit of brainstorm mode here and just uh see how we could do that. I'm just going to do something like a sketch pad here and see how this could be looking like. So if we take something like what Manuel has been doing. Let's simplify. Just focus on this one, okay? And if we say like this would be a physical type, that would be a varchar of 25, right? If but in some system it could be something else. Let's say let's make up something. Okay, so let's say it could be
Could
let's say
just
it
be
could
like char 25 or something.
like, yeah, it could be
Yeah.
char 25. Okay, for let's say a very old database that doesn't support varchar. Okay, whatever. Okay, just if how would we be able to differentiate this as to support that? This this is not great. We need to specify some kind of context around it. Okay, and that's and I yeah I wonder if that's what kind of what Tom was referring to. That's at least that's how I understand what Tom is his issue was. Does that make sense to everybody, or?
I think it already has the context kind of wrapped around it, given that it's a column as part of a data set, and a data set is part of the contract, and the contract contains all the other metadata. So I think it already has the context that you need to understand, okay, if I wanted to find out what this physical type actually means, you already have that context.
Right.
If you wanted to find out. Yeah.
Right. This context, a business context, but it's more like the implementation context. Something like saying, hey, if we say something like that, like context, I'm just making things up, okay? Database, and then this would be oops, or Oracle. And this could be like a context database, DBase 3. For those of us that were old enough to know what DBase 3 is. It was a real thing. It was popular at this time. So no, so I think that's how I understood Tom's thing. But I can't speak for Tom if she's not here.
Should we split this out into a working group? I mean, this is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I think we could. The thing is, yeah, I think it's a great idea to. We've got to go back to working group, and especially maybe this is some things that I don't know, Manuel, you've been working on, and it seems to be something that Tom is really interested in. Maybe you should lead that, or I don't know, or both of you should be leading that. I don't know. Okay, so maybe we should just oh, Tom is back. Yeah. So Tom, are you back?
Yeah, sorry about that.
It happens. Yeah. If you see my screen, we've. I didn't want to brainstorm for you as well, but is that something that you were thinking of? Okay, the syntax is shit. Okay, so don't look too much on that. But the idea is to contextualize a physical type.
However, I like Tom's approach in saying, hey, let's define the use cases. So what do we want to support with our data contract? Like, do we want to support generating SQL DDL from the data contract, or do we want to support data quality checks, or do we want to support providing data catalogs with all the data needed? So I think that could drive a lot of discussions. So if we say these are our use cases, and say define the requirements that we have for our specification. Yeah, I like the idea. Absolutely.
So, and Tom, as you were having technical difficulties, Todd suggested that maybe we should put that in a working group, and I suggested that because you were not here, you lead the working group. You know, it's always like that. You're out for 5 minutes, you became president. Okay.
I can definitely give that a go. In the
Uh,
past, I didn't manage to spend enough time on it, but I can definitely give that a try.
I
If
think
it's too
it's
slow,
great.
then you can take it like you have the liberty to take it away at any time.
Oh no. It's look. I was just I was just trying to brainstorm. Manuel started to work. And I think it's great if we just have a group that focuses on that, and so and whoever you lead the working group, or Manu leads the working group, and you just yeah. So I'm just doing that. Okay.
And so with probably what we need from the group then in order to kind of work out an example or a direction would be that decision on, do we take it from like the use case level? Do we strategically take it from like a single typing system that's a Bitol typing system, and then we map every tool has to map to their typing system, or is it that we should list the different options? That would be another
Well, what I like what Simona has been doing when with the infrastructure part. Okay, so there's different options, and we kind of decide at some
Yeah.
point which one is the best. I like a lot the idea of the use case being more use case driven. I am I'm just curious if it will have some ripple effect on the rest of the contract as well.
Yeah.
So that would be, my first little bit warning there.
Yep.
But the thing is, when you're if the only time in the contract right now where we're talking about the use case it's in the usage part at the very beginning. That's kind of the only time we're talking usage, okay? And the definition we all agreed, I think, on is it's really from one producer to many consumers. Many consumers implies that they probably have different use cases. Um, but do we want to bring back those use cases in the contract? Is might be opening a kind of worm.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if this is the thing of use case Tom was referring to.
Mm-hmm.
I
Different
think
usage.
it's
Usage is
more,
not use case.
yeah, I think it's more how do data engineers interact, or how do tools interact with a data contract instance?
So
Or
yeah,
the specification or standard. What is it used for?
so this would be, if I go back to my sketchpad here, this would be the tooling context or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So that we can have different values for soda eventually and we save the same thing. We had this discussion like namespaces or something for different tools. Okay, so for specific properties or specific values, like soda may have different needs at Rido and others as well, or data catering.
Well, and is the concept, if you're going to inject like domain constraints, like, is that what the options is for? I mean, there's a lot of room for when you get down to the use cases and the usage side for a contract to get relatively strict or well-defined, at least, so that somebody can actually put the data to use. It sort of seems like these are going in two different directions here.
So I think we should, as a note here, it's I vote that okay, we exclude consumer use cases. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a lot of yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's the way I would want to go with the typing side. I mean, unless we have a different way to enrich context on attributes, I think I think that types are going to end up being the core of the contract in a lot of ways. I think that these are going to be where
yeah.
a lot of the pointers are going to come in, and a lot of the tool. I do think that the tooling extensions are important there. I mean, I think you could have the type having a pointer out to data quality rules that sort of define domain and all of those aspects. I don't know what everybody's going to want to do in terms of embedding that sort of information in type versus having it be, separately defined. But I think that I think for the contract at the attribute level, that's where everything's going to tie together, and I think the types are are going to be the manifestation of that.
So going back to what Johan was saying as well, and maybe is trying to list what needs we try to fulfill there, right? Or
Yes, I think that is actually crucial. It's like, what are the assumptions on the type system, and what are the needs and the requirements that we try to list? Because with every potential solution that we put into the mix,
yeah,
we need to evaluate it against a set of concrete use cases, because otherwise everyone is thinking in their own use case and coming up with different solutions being the better one. So what we need is like, and that's where we need to be concrete about the list, and the list can grow as we move forward, as we have more input on how are people using this. But I think we should list the ones that we validate it against, that we validate the solution against. Like for instance, data quality checks, like you run a check after the data is produced, you run a check to see if the schema is as you expect. Like that's a use case. Same as like table generation before you run your transformations, for instance. That could be another use case.
okay.
And I think it would be good if we can, like, if anyone in the group has inspiration of what would be the use cases of data types in a contract, where would those be used, and how would we be, what should we take into account for that use case in terms of typing? I think that would be good.
Yeah, because you can, yeah. Okay.
Maybe anyone else a use case in mind for, like, rather than these two?
Yeah, we currently have customers that use data contracts to create a reader's dashboard for every, well, they have Kafka, so they use a data contract to generate a streaming database in Rising Wave automatically and create a reader's dashboard based on this data contract. So setting up analytical infrastructure as part of the data platform.
Yeah, I think that analyst consumer workload is actually where I think most about it, is making it clear for somebody who's not embedded in the production of the data, that the things we always trip on when we're working with a new data set, right? That's to me the biggest thing. So I agree with Jochen.
And feel free to add things in the chat as well, okay? If you feel more comfortable.
Of course, we have things like pushing metadata to catalogs or marketplaces. Yeah, Peter edits as well. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And if you look at Raito, I guess there is certainly also the use case of automating security or request and approval workflows. But Dieter can say more here, probably. How would you see that?
Yeah, I don't immediately see an impact here on the typing system. We will be using it for potentially things like masking, because depending on the type of the column, you should apply different masking rules. But that is something that I would rather than do indeed on the logical type So we would be pulling in the logical type rather than the physical type in that case. So.
Yeah.
Does the masking ever change the physical type?
No, it doesn't change the physical type. It's rather the masking algorithm that you would use on a string value is a string column is very different than when it's a datetime, for example.
And the creation of the reader dashboard, that I assume is an example of just building a kind of consumer, right, of the actual data, I'm supposing. So that could be like any building, any consumer would be the writer.
Yeah. Any application, basically.
You know, any app consuming the data.
Yeah, I think in general, from what I hear and feel here, is that what is currently in the standard, the logical type and the physical type, that makes absolute sense, right? Physical type is what it is in the database. The logical type, what I would prefer from what I hear now is that is a fixed list that is defined in the standard of what it can be, potentially plus some more open extensions. But there is like a fixed list of things that tools can handle that don't per se know all of the underlying data sources. But that's kind of what it should feel to me. So yeah, purely keeping it to the logical type and physical type as it is in the current makes sense, but the logical type should be limited to a fixed list of high level options, right?
Well, so far so logical that's what for the logical type, that's what we wanted. You know, we've got this list there, and we can also
Exactly.
correlate with what Johan and Simon has been doing here. Okay, so do we want to have these extra things, or for example, the difference between an int, it could be through the option, okay, as well. If we leverage the option system as we have here, this is, you know, this is kind of part of the length of an int, instead of having another type. But that's kind of a bit the you know the detail. Open API is also doing a lot of things a little bit different as well. So maybe we should also refer to that as well for the logical types, because I think the Open API idea, the logical type idea was kind of borrowed from Open API, which makes sense. Is here is something like the use cases it needs is also some compatibility with Open API. So if we just go into the need for the table generation, this is where you need so here's there's a need for multiple tools in the same contract, right? And here.
So can you explain what you mean with multiple tools?
Multiple tools could be database engine, for example, you know, like going back to my example with Oracle and DB3.
Yeah. Dummy question, does that mean that we see a column as a logical column and not a physical column?
No, the column is still a physical column.
But
We
yeah.
have
There's a
not.
question of layering, right? Like, is it both? Are we trying to do the enriched data, or are we trying to keep the types simple? And, you know, I mean, I think when you talk open API and compatibility there, I mean, because in open API, everything is fundamentally text string over the wire, right?
Yeah.
So our physical type is the translation between the wire and sort of what you would see once you've surfaced it through to your tool. Then logical type would be the map to open API logical type. That still doesn't get you to sort of contextual type.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I would second this. So in OpenAPI and even more in async API, by the way, the translation to the physical type is done in the bindings. So the bindings define, okay, I do have a technology like Kafka or MQTT or anything. In our case, it would be a Oracle or DBase or anything. And based on this binding, there happens a translation on the best fitted physical type, right? So this could also be delegated to a binding or translation layer.
Another important input is like, should we cover and should we target only SQL-like data, or also streaming like in Kafka? Because like if we do streaming like in Kafka, is like basically a blob every message, then the first thing to know is like, what's the format? Is it Avro? Is it like protobuf or whatever is inside every message? And then you have, or is it like a JSON text? And then you have the typing system inside. Whereas like if you say every message is a JSON message, then it could even be that they're all just plain strings. Then you're not even sure that there's columns, that the top level is an object. So should we also take into account those
Yeah, please,
differences?
please, I mean, literally all of our customers use Kafka, and they do not have a good solution for data context except the schema registry in Confluent, which is kind of limited for them.
Well, so my answer to that, and we can make a decision here, but this is no. uh, does anyone want to be limited to SQL? Okay, I think we've got a consensus here.
Yeah, but I mean that places a lot of challenges on how you can build a single language to cover all of those differences.
I'm not saying it's easy. Okay, that's why we are.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but I think when one thing that okay, what about what Johan was saying is really like it's like a little bit like a data contract to Kafka registry schema, etc. I think this should be something like you're thinking about, using a data contract to table generation. It should be also to be able to generate the things for that Confluent need in the registry as well. So, and uh, uh oh, I'm Gene. Eugene, was more into documents and things like that. He's also curious about how we can actually integrate this for document management. Okay, so this is adding also another layer. And that's why that's also why there's this. It starts very quickly with you've got data sets and then you've got table, and that's what table is one of this critical element. It can be stream or it can be document or something at this level, and then we could have a complete different structure. We just didn't even tackle that part really as of now, but this could be part of that as well.
Yep, exactly.
I think we got a quite a good set of needs and discussions there. I think it's enough work for a working group. So let's maybe tackle that discussion until we take it into working group. Okay. And unless someone has a final thought on that. Okay. I think it was pretty good to do that. Feel free to. I'm going to commit all that. Okay. This. I don't think this repo is not protected by multiple reviewers. Okay. So you should be able to do that. Emmanuel, I don't know if you, there might be a few rights issues, and that's something also I wanted to address today. Um, I'm the only maintainer in the ways that I'm the only one that can approve a push or something. I would like to change that because I'm trying not to be this tyrant. So I don't know how we can change that, and um I think that we don't have a clear view yet of what we're looking. It's easy when you're doing a code review, okay, and you're looking at Java or Python code, and if you can read it, okay, that's good enough, right? But the thing is, how do we do the same thing for a standard? Okay, so that's something that we may need to discuss a little bit at some point. Does that make any sense to any of you? What I'm saying, or just grunting? So
PRs go to the agenda for
that
like
was the idea. So on we have pull review, we have pull request and code review for the open data contract standard repo. Okay, but I'm the only one that is kind of allowed to validate them. So um, and I don't think if I'm looking at there if I'm looking at I think the users are not here. Security. Nope, not here. One thing which I'm really not that good is the whole security thing in GitHub. So if anyone else wants to look at it, I'm really open to it. So that's our users. I hope, Dieter, you're probably not in yet. Okay, so you've got to send me your GitHub ID so I can invite you. And yeah, so yeah, then in terms of structure of the repo itself for this one, shit. Okay, you probably all have MFA on your GitHub account, but so you know it's going to be compulsory if you have not, which I think it's okay. Yeah, so there's really not that many people that have access as of right as well. Okay, so all 10 members can access this repo. That's all you, but so I think we should clean up. I think this guy can be actually removed. Oof. But there's a TSC with 5 members as a team, and that's you guys. So I think I've got to update that part as well. What's your ID, Johan?
I think it's Jochen Christ altogether.
Johan Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not even a member of this organization. Okay, so I'm inviting you. Okay. Let's do it right away for everybody then. Tom, you're not there as well.
Nope, Tom Bynes. One word.
Nope. Here, sorry.
The lowest one. Swedish chef.
Okay. Dieter, let's do you as right away as well.
I've put mine in the chat. Might be
Well,
easier.
that's nice of you. Okay. Did I get everybody? I think everybody on this call, except your own daughter, should be in now. Okay. Okay. So let's see if that works, and maybe next time we have a pull request, maybe someone else can look at it, do it or something. Okay. So we also have a few in the repos. We also have a few, I think it's here, issues. So Ryan looked at all these things, put all these things in there. I nobody replied to him. Sorry. Nobody replied to him. I think it would be nice, but the thing is, I think it's a little bit like the same thing when Peter started. Like, hey, let's throw all this shit at your face and see what stick. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get into. So there might be some good ideas there, but the thing is, it's really like a oh, it's huge. Okay, so I haven't gone back to Ryan. I should, but feel free also to have a look at at that and there's also on Slack, there's also what's his name? Alpesh that is also suggesting a few things, and I don't know if that's something we want to add or not as well. Okay, so feel, please have a look and chime in as well. Okay, that was it for me.
Cool.
The only thing, yeah, sorry, the only thing, and we have 3 minutes, and it's probably not going to happen, is planning for a new version. I like to plan a new version, like maybe let's say something like, hey, we want to have the infrastructure added by March, okay, or something, or the logical type, the logical physical type in March or something. So it gives us a little bit of a goal, because I think if we don't have a date, it can just, you know, stay there and not evolve forever. One thing as well is what does data mesh manager and Enoch needs to completely switch? Okay, is there something in your standard, Johan, and that you will need So that is not there yet. Okay, so think about that as well. Same thing for, I would say, for the other vendors. Okay, for Soda, I know you have your own internal versions of data contract. What is it you missing from here to completely, adopt it or make sure that it's compatible and that you've got all the information you find? And I know, Dieter, you're new to all that, but I think it's a little bit the same questions to you as well. Peter, it's a little bit the same thing for you as well as a vendor, okay? For data catering, what is missing from the data contract, or what would you like to have? Okay, so it's maybe having some sort of thinking about wish lists of things you want, and maybe having, I don't know, a timeline associated to this wish list. All right. So, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's a year as a data contract. Okay. Okay. So, any last comment?
that
Any
note.
last question?
Nope.
All right. Awesome. Well, see you next month. In the meanwhile, in working groups. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
Thank you, guys.